another podcast series of URA on higher education. Today we have Shreyash Gupta with us. He's a fourth year biotech student. Hi, Shreyash. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I've recently been admitted to Georgia Tech's MS Bioinformatics master's program. Uh, Over the years, my research profile has been of two projects, which one of them was my final year thesis project, and one publication. So after my second year, I did sort of an internship in our own institute under Ramanaju sir's postdoc, whose name is Dr. Ninyan Prashant. And yeah, so the other project that I did was under the supervision of Dr. Urmila Saxena. Uh, for the third year, I actually missed on. I had two internship offers. Was from SIPLA, and one was academic internship offer from IIT Delhi. Though due to COVID, I missed both on these internships, and yeah, so here I am now.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me, Shreyash, that why did you choose to pursue masters?
Yeah, so for the decision of pursuing my master's, I actually had a casual conversation with one of my seniors. He's Krishna Gupta from TU Dresden. So what he suggested was ki, like, in order to actually know ki, like you would want to pursue a PhD, or if you're even capable of doing a PhD, because PhD requires a lot of work that you need to do on your own. So he told me like first pursue a master's to get an overall insight into how a PhD would be, and what kind of work does it take to be and what kind of work does it take to earn a PhD. So that's why I have gain an insight into these kind of things. So that's why I applied for masters, so as to better my prospects for getting into a PhD program.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Georgia Tech, that's finalized, right?
Yeah, that's finalized.
Okay. Great. So a lot of people ask this question that when should I start preparing for my college admissions and how to build my profile?
So the professional answer to this thing would be the starting from the third year, you need to improve on your profile. Up till then, whatever CG you have managed, you should, like, before that you should manage your CG first from the first year and the second year itself. As per from personally my answer, it's better to start. It's better to start at as early as possible from first year even itself. Actually, I know one of my senior Daksh. He had an internship after the first year, so it's better to start as soon as possible if you have time. But it's not to fret about it. It's panicking wouldn't do anything much about it. It's all about shooting your shot first, applying for internships, doing some sort of projects, doing online courses would actually help you a long way. And if possible, during this COVID thing, you can also try to attend some virtual seminars or things like that, so as to gain an experience like what kind of research is being done in your field of interest. So one can know about like what are the current trends and whether if you're even excited for it. There are multiple virtual seminars happening around. I can give you one of the examples. I was interested in synthetic biology. So for that, due to COVID thing, due to COVID thing, many of the things happened. So for this thing, it was quite a favor for me. Like some of the Max Planck conducted synthetic biology convention, convention, was happened in a virtual format. So all you had to join was a Zoom meeting, and there were multiple of professors who presented what kind of work they were doing, and so like you can get to know around like what kind of work was being done. So that's also very beneficial into having an insight into what kind of research that you want to get into. So yeah.
Okay,
So for
nice.
preparation of internships, you can do is on online courses, do a project on your this thing, and actually approach your own faculty if you are quite interested in something. Approach a faculty, he might actually guide you something into it. Although it's not most fruitious on most times, but it's better to have something than nothing.
Okay. So how did you shortlisted your universities? What strategy did you follow, and any particular reason for choosing a specific country?
Yeah, so for the bioinformatics program that I was interested into, Germany didn't have much of the programs, and so natural choice would be the US and Canada, even other European countries too. But I didn't have a have a deep insight into what kind of universities to look into. US ranking provides an overall view, but I don't feel like it's quite that accurate. Most of the seniors that I asked from, they suggested like US news would be the much more accurate ranking measurement. So that's why I use US news as a criteria. And secondly, look into the coursework of the graduate programs. The coursework, if it matches you, would be crucial for your admission. If you're getting into a course which you have no idea of, which you don't know the coursework, they'll probably reject you just because you are not a great fit for the program. So
Yeah,
all you
yeah.
need to do is look around the coursework, look around the professors, see if they are doing a valuable research work into their thing. See what kind of interest that they have, publications. See, so that's all there's to consider. For Georgia Tech, mainly the considerations that I saw was, okay, first of all, what's the US news ranking? So if you're looking for a job, US news ranking plays into account on all those things. But if you're into a research profile, make sure to contact the professor before you apply. Before you ask them around, okay, how the labs are, thing that you're working on, what are they working on now, what exciting thing they are going through working on now. So that actually also helps in the getting into the master's program. So contacting professors is one of them. And yeah, so
Okay. So, tell me something. Tell me more about your application procedure. What was it like, and what all the things that happened? Like,
yeah, so I actually applied quite a bit late than the others have applied. So I finished my application process in January, just because the exams that I took, GRE and TOEFL, I took it very late. So for the application procedure, I started almost around in December. I figured out all the universities that I can apply to and what are the deadlines. I prepared a chart based on that, an Excel sheet based on that. What are the requirements? Some of them had a TOEFL requirement. Some of actually GRE requirement for my application year was suspended, so no one considered my GRE score. And if you're asking about documents, it's all based on the specific applications. But the general thing is one SOP on your own, a personal statement or a diversity statement. SOP thing is based clearly on what you have been up to, and personal and diversity statement. Personal history and diversity statement is based on what drives you and what you have been through. Like it's
yeah,
basically on that kind of stuff. And next you have three LORs, which is necessary. One from your own professor and one from where you have worked, and third can be a general LOR. Although for my LORs, I considered Urmila ma'am for this thing. My supervisor for the this thing work associated LOR, and let me remember. And these are the things I guess required, and obviously the official transcripts and the stuff like that. Yeah, so
okay,
nothing much more than.
okay,
So to summarize, one SOP, one personal history statement, and three LORs that are necessary for your graduate program.
all right. So, like, was there an interview part of the procedure?
No, I wasn't. No, there was no interview. I think interviews mainly for the PhD program and some of the master's program, but although I cannot say for sure.
Okay, okay, yeah. So, which English proficiency test did you take?
Yeah, so this decision was based on the availability of the centers around me. So actually, for the COVID thing, I need to travel. I need to travel to a center, or the IELTS thing, I need to travel to a center. So during COVID, I thought like it's better to have it on home in home. So during that time, GRE and TOEFL they were being conducted by ETS in the IBT format. internet-based tests. So it all happens at home. So it's easy to have it in home. So I went for TOEFL.
Okay, okay, cool. So, how did you go about writing your essays for application purpose?
For the essays, actually, I prepared a sort of draft for my personal statement, highlighting what highlighting an introduction paragraph, a hook, and after that, I actually described what all work I have been up to, and then I talked a bit about the Georgia Tech program and how the professors appeal to my interests. And a final this thing like how I would be beneficial for their program or for their interest. So just how the things are done for the cover letter, but in a lot more detail. And for the SOP thing, I actually had help from my cousins who are already have done the masters, and some of my seniors. So I did send a draft to the seniors, and they suggested the edits on it. So that's how I went about my SOP writing.
Okay, okay, yeah.
It's better to
Good.
reach out to others for help in SOP because they have experience and they have things that you can implement and which are really essential in an SOP that could actually boost your admission probability
Okay, like
getting
contacting your
into the
senior for review and all.
yeah. It's better to
Okay,
have a review done.
all right. So, how long the programs that you have applied for are, and how much they cost?
Yeah, so Georgia Tech, I think MS Bioinformatics program cost around $18,000 per month per year per semester. Sorry. So the program length is of 1.5 years, which I think have a 37 credit this thing, the minimum credits that you need to have. Basically, there would be four. So Georgia Tech actually tuition fees is based on the credit system. So depending upon the amount of the credit that you take in each semester, the fees vary on based on that. As per what I have calculated, is almost around it's going to cost me around 60 lakhs, which would if I were to break it apart, it would be 42 lakhs for the tuition fees and 12 lakhs for the housing, and the other 6 lakhs, 6 to 3 lakhs would be based on the general requirements and all the mandatory institute fees and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah.
So, Shreyash, tell me that how do you go about finding internships? Sorry, not internships, scholarships to study abroad.
Scholarships actually when you're applying for a master's program, you actually have an option to like apply for scholarships. One of them would be, I think, Fulbright. You can look into it. I didn't look into much into that, and I guess for scholarships, even I'm not quite sure about it. You need to consult other people. I didn't apply for a scholarship though. There are
Okay,
small amounts of scholarships available on VMake Scholars, and you can look into them. But it's only like around 2 lakhs, and not actually funded by the this thing, funded by the institute. For scholarships, other than scholarships, there are I think one scholarships. There are minor scholarships that you can find in the institute itself, which are actually funded by the institute and not by the US government. So you can look into those. And the other thing is the part of teaching assistants and research assistants that you can look into. Bagging a teaching assistant and teaching assistants or a research assistant would actually, reduce the burden of your tuition fees and semester. So
oh, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so how do you plan on how are you financing your higher education?
So the personal funds, if I were to divulge it, or my family already has around 40 to 50 lakhs, and so I've even taken a bank loan so as to like make my process faster for I-20 and for visa applications, because the more liquid assets, the more liquid assets you can show, the better it is. Other than that, if anyone else wants to have a funding issue, you can always reach out to your sponsors in family or friends. Even that too works for I-20.
Okay. Okay, so
So I'm not quite sure about visa application thing. visa officer would also like confirm your financial status, but mostly it's done by the university itself in the I-20 request form.
Okay, okay. So could you suggest some best options for student loans?
For student loans, best options, I think, see, you can reach out to Vidya Mandir and VMAX Scholars. VMAX Scholars is I think a government entity which looks into funding and providing funds to people to people who are applying for an education loan. So they are not directly involved in the process, but they do make the process a bit faster than what it's usually supposed to be. When you're applying for a direct loan to the bank, they'll obviously hide schemes and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm not quite sure about it, but remake scholars usually do help in the in getting your loan approved. They help in fast tracking the entire process, and if there are any doubts in the at any stage of the process, you can approach them. Even if there are funds and technicalities, they are able to help you in those kind of. So it's, I think, a government of India thing. So you can reach out to them. The other is the Vidya Mandir portal. So Vidya Mandir portal is only for actually government banks like Bank of Baroda, SBI. They're only for the government banks. They don't have a they don't have a relationship officers in private banks.
Okay, okay. So regarding these international masters programs, so in any way, are they gonna help me to get a good job or to get a boost in my career?
It all
And
depends on the it all depends on the institute that you're applying to and the master's program and the ranking of the master's program. Yeah, I'm not sure about like how would the job prospects would be. Like I'm quite sure about like there would be job prospects for like the GT offers they offer 100% statistics that all their students get either placed or they pursue their masters or they pursue the PhD programs. So it all depends on the college that you're applying to. If it's prestigious, then I don't think you should have a job issue. They do have like a placement drive thing. Like I inquired for Georgia Tech, they did have a career fest kind of thing. So in career fest, you apply to multiple companies. It all depends on it all depends on how active you are in the this thing career fest. And they do have a policy which and in their policies they do discuss like whether we'll be able to provide a work authorization permit, which is the H1B, whether they'll be offering an H1B or not through the legal team. So it all depends on the career fest. So
okay,
even for job prospects, there's actually a lot of job prospects for the biotech department if you're pursuing a master's from biotechnology branch.
okay.
A lot than over that is available in India. Yeah, Nitin, go ahead.
Yeah, so how to deal with work permit and student visa limitations?
Okay, so I don't think there is a student visa limitation sort of thing. It's all the student visa is based on the offer letter that you get from the universities. For the work permit thing, if you are pursuing an academic research, if you're pursuing an academic career, okay. So what I know is from talking to other people is that after your PhD or if you're doing a postdoc, there's no lottery system for getting an H1B. So you can in an academic thing you can easily get your H1B cleared most easily. But H1B for work permits for the job that you're looking for in even in science and technology, you actually have a lottery kind of system. I'm not quite sure about it. Even one of my cousin actually lost one of the lotteries and he won one of the lotteries in October. So it's always on lottery system. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite much sure about it.
Okay, yeah. So so suppose after my masters, if I fail to get a job for within 3 years, 6 months, so shall I consider moving to other country like
So
can?
US have an OPT period of around 60 to 90 days, I guess. Yeah, 90 days. I think 90 days. Yeah. I need to confirm it's almost around 60 to 90 days. It's not 1 year. So by that time you need to have a job, which you can get after doing an internship. They'll usually provide you with a replacement offer kind of stuff. So you can look into that. Or by then. in those 90 days you need to have a job in order to stay in US, or if you want to extend your stay, I wouldn't suggest doing it unlawfully. And for applying different countries, it actually depends. Applying for in in other locations, they it all depends on the recommendation that you have. And the consideration that you need to have is the distance thing. Even they'll also think, "Hey, why should I hire a student from other another country?" So basically, your chances of getting a job are impacted by those factors too. So one needs to consider these factors, and yeah, so things are pretty tricky. And I think so basically people do apply for Germany, but I haven't seen a case who has either not gotten a job. They usually go for further studies in PhD.
Okay. Tell me this thing that throughout your journey towards your higher education, uh, how did you get the guidance? Like, did you attend some events or talk to people or?
In the first year, I was trying to be the most proactive version of myself. I attended several seminars conducted by Technical Association of Biotechnology (TAB). Even in those, even in those, even in those talks and seminars, we discussed these things in quite a bit of detail. So for guidance, you need to approach your professors. It's the only thing. Professors and the seniors that who are successful. Even if we don't have even if we don't have a particular knowledge about a certain process, you can easily approach other seniors too. We are all living in a student community, and we actually
Yeah.
reach out for help. We actually give help too. So yeah, it's all based on the connections that you make.
Okay. So Shreyas, through URA, we are trying to build this research community at our college and try to system make this process of guidance systematic, more
Yeah.
systematic through networking and providing projects. So, uh, do you think that it's really beneficial for the upcoming students?
Yeah, it actually does, because that's how you're going to know like which senior I can contact you and which senior can provide me with with the answers to my query. I think it's a great part. It's actually building a network, and building a network is never a bad thing. You're always bound to have benefits from building a network, and it's actually much easier to contact two seniors, and you'll actually get to know like who's applying what and what's possible for you in your position with your profile, what you can achieve. So it's also better to set realistic targets, but not hamper yourself at that too.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So
I do wish I do wish URA becomes the big thing, and I do hope like many of the students do connect to URA.
yeah. Sure. So, any suggestions you have for your juniors and or the future aspirants?
Yeah, I would really suggest like don't get demotivated. Just be hopeful. Shoot your shot. That's the most important thing the entire in the entire fourth year. I was worried for 5 months. Literally, I didn't get enough sleep. I was constantly wondering whether if my publication would get published or not. He actually was going through this thing. So it's better to shoot a shot. That's all I can have. Give your best and hope for the best.
Okay. Thanks a
So
lot. Yeah. So thanks a lot, Shreyas, for joining today.
yeah,
It's been,
thanks, brother.
yeah, it's been a great time.
I do wish everyone to have to achieve their dreams, to be successful,
Yeah.
and do share your success stories with us, and we can help you a lot more other in other ways too.
Yeah.